So Chapter 8, Lesson 3, you have the handout that was given to you in class. Please take your notes on the handout and be prepared to ask questions and do the practice problems tomorrow in your groups. So fill in your heading at the top and the date, because we are doing these notes for tomorrow, is 3/13. And the first vocabulary word we have is a sphere. And a sphere is a set of all points in space that are a radius from the center. And a hemisphere is a circle that separates a sphere into two congruent halves. So it's basically like slicing the earth in half. And the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, and you know that you can put 4/3 into your calculator just like this. If you do not recall, these are the keys that you would press. So the first three examples, it says find the volume of the sphere, round to the nearest tenth. And so we have volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. And I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. So I have 4/3 times 3.14, and the radius is 6, and I'm cubing that. So that is not 6 times 3, that is 6 times 6 times 6. So r cubed is actually 216. And so the volume is 904.3 millimeters cubed. And how you read that left to right, 4/3 times 3.14 times 6 to the third, your calculator will recognize all of that, and you can put it right in just like that. So number 2 gives us the diameter, but I'm always using the radius. And the radius is half of the diameter. So the radius for number 2 is 11 centimeters. So I have 4/3 times 3.14 times 11 to the third power. And 11 to the third power gives me 1,331. And so my volume is 5,572.5 cubic centimeters. Last one, same thing, 4/3 times 3.14 times 5 to the third power gives me a volume of 523.3 millimeters cubed. For examples 4 and 5, you're talking about only half of the sphere. So once we find the volume, we're going to take that and we're going to divide it by 2. Divide it by 2. So 4/3 pi r cubed is volume equals 4/3, 3.14, and we're talking 5 cubed again, which is 125. And so we get a volume that is 523.3 to the nearest tenth, and we are dividing that in half. So we're dividing it by 2 to get a volume of 261.7 cubic centimeters. For number 5, we have volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So we have volume equals 4/3, 3.14, and we have the diameter is 2, so the radius is half that at 1. So we're cubing the 1. And so that gives us 4.2, and if we divide that by 2, we get 2.1 cubic centimeters. So number 6 says a spherical stone in the courtyard of the National Museum of Costa Rica has a diameter of 8 feet. So it has a radius of 4. Find the volume of the spherical stone round to the nearest tenth. You should really underline your keywords for the word problems. So volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So volume equals 4/3, 3.14, and 4 to the third power. And 4 to the third power is 64. And so when I multiply all of that together, I get 267.9 feet cubed. Number 7 says a volleyball has a diameter of 10, which makes our radius 5 inches. A pump can inflate the ball at a rate of 325 cubic inches per minute. How long will it take to inflate the ball? Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So we're going to find the volume first. And the volume of this figure is 523.3 inches cubed. And in order to find how long it will take, we need to do this answer divided by the 325 cubic inches per minute. And so that gives us an answer of 1.6 minutes. Last example on these notes says number 8, a snowball has a diameter of 6 centimeters, so it has a radius of 3 centimeters. Again, how long will it take the snowball to melt? If it melts at a rate of 1.8 cubic centimeters per minute, round to the nearest tenth. So I need to find the volume of the snowball with a radius of 3, and the volume is 113.0 cubic centimeters. That's my rounded answer. I'm going to take that value and divide it by the 1.8, and that's going to give me 62.8 minutes it will take to melt, so just a little over an hour. Please have these notes ready for you in class tomorrow so that you can do the practice problems on pages 608 and 609. Also, don't forget that Thursday, 3/14, is Pi Day, and if you volunteered to bring in treats, make sure you ask Mom and Dad if you are still able to bring those in. Have a good night.